Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So thanks for joining us today for this live event. We have some fun demo stuff that I think that's mostly why you're here. So I'm gonna try to just go over a few things, and then we'll get on to Anil and his demo. So I'm Taylor Barnett Tarabi. I'm a PM at Netlify, and we're gonna later bring on Anil, who is from the solutions team and has some really cool Bolt demo and walking through this whole AI driven workflow. We're recording, so that's one note I want to mention. So if you need to drop off, we'll be sharing after. So we'll make sure you get that in your emails. So if you need to take a meeting or jump off, you won't miss anything. Uh, Another note, we'll be also having one of these tomorrow. Tomorrow's is going to be heavily working in a more IDE environment, and we're going to be pushing changes, really trying to gain confidence in your deploys when you are using, AI assisted agents and different tools. So if you haven't signed up for tomorrow's, which I know a lot of folks have, you can, or you don't know anything about what's going on tomorrow, we'll get a link thrown up into the chat so that you can then, check it out, book it on your calendar, save that time. And yeah, so that's most of it. And the last thing, as we're doing this, we will be hanging out in chat, answering questions throughout the demo. Feel free to throw up your questions then. We can try to address them then. And then at the end, we're going to bring Anil back on the stage, and we're going to ask some questions, answer, have a bit more of a discussion. And yeah, I think that's about it. And so you can either put it in the Q&A feature if you see the little Q&A next to the chat, if you have any questions, or things might come up organically in chat too. That's totally fine. And so with that, I'm going to bring Anil and his demo on stage. Anil will introduce himself a little bit more. And
hi, everybody. My name is Anil Bridgepal. I'm one of the solutions engineers here at Netlify. Today, we're going to kind of talk about Bolt and Netlify and how this works together. You think that in 2025, spinning up a basic marketing site would be instant, but in order to get this going, you'd have to kind of mess with different kind of coding environments, GitHub, working with API secrets, deployed, just to get a simple page going. This can take a lot of time, but today with Netlify and Bolt, I will show you how you can flip that story. By the end of this demo, we'll have a live site, wiretrain API. We can set up a password protection, and it'll be ready to share with customers or your team. So this is Bolt.new. We can use Bolt.new as one of the agentic site builders that are really popular today. With Bolt.new, we can import from an existing project like GitHub, where you might have your design system, or Figma, where you have some of the prototypes and actual mock-ups of a website you want to build. But with Bolt, whatever you prompt here turns into a web application. No need to kind of worry about decisions like picking a framework or how it's working under the hood. You'll be able to kind of run and test and build all within this platform. And we'll kind of show you how to bring that over to Netlify, where you can kind of customize the site, password protect it, or hand it off to your developers. So let's start with a prompt here. Create a modern e-commerce site for a brand called Bolt Supply Company. This will be for Labor Day sale in 2025. And let's see how it goes. So Bolt is thinking, it's creating a plan, and it's going to actually start to build out all the different site components and data as well. I can go over to the code pane here, and you can actually see all the code that's being written, and it's going to create all the different types of components that we need in your web application. All this is happening automatically with AI. So Bolt just finished generating our whole site, and we can go over to the preview pane and take a look at the site. Not bad so far, but I think we could do better. So let's add in some real product data. So there's this website called Fake Store API. They have some sample products. Let's tell Bolt to use it now. Can you replace the product data with this? So Bolt is smart enough to check out the API and figure out what is actually in it and update my page accordingly. Great. We have a bunch of products here. Let's add a few more things too. This page is for a retail brand selling clothes. Also add in a countdown timer to Labor Day 2025. Awesome. So Bolt finished. We have a countdown timer now, and we have all the products there. So let's deploy this and check it out on Netlify. So in order to do that, we click the Publish button, and then this will actually, by default, deploy to Netlify, where we work with them as a deployment partner, and it makes it really easy to kind of bring this into your Netlify account after it's done. Great. So now the site is actually live, and this is something that I could send to my team. I could keep working on, change the colors, prompt whatever I need out of it. In order to add this to my account, we provide you a claim URL. This will open up a website where you can choose which team to deploy to. Since I belong to so many different teams at Netlify, this takes a second to load for myself. So I'm going to add this to my marketing team. And now, just like that, this is something that exists on my marketing team here. I can go into my different configurations, change a URL, set up different types of branching, bring it into my agent runners, whatever it may be. Bolt makes it really easy to work on multiple variations of your website. And we can also show you how this works well with Netlify as well. So in this, I want to make a new variation of my website too. For example, I want to do something like, I don't like the pink color. Let's make the colors be blue and white. And Bolt will go ahead and update all these different components as well and actually deploy the site again. Sometimes we do run into an error with live coding. I'll show you how to resolve that in 1 minute. Looks like it worked. So in this example here, I have a blue and white version of the site, and I can actually update this and publish it out. So I click publish, and it will automatically know what site I claimed on my Netlify account and push it out as well. So here I can go into my website, and it's now with the blue and white theme. The cool thing about Netlify is that we have instant rollbacks as well too. So I can go into my project and take a look at my different deploys. We have what we call an atomic deploy here, where every version of the site that gets published has its own dedicated sets of resources. This allows us to do things like check out the site and roll it back pretty instantly as well. So I can click on permalink here and see this is a special URL for a permalink. It's a blue and white version, and I can go back to my original version as well. And say I didn't want to push that update out and I need to revert my changes. I can easily click Publish Deploy, and this site is now the new active site as well. So I go back to my URL and I refresh it, and it's actually going to go back to the original deployed version of the site. Bolt has some other really cool integrations as well. We can do things here where I can add Stripe payments to work through all different product pages. We can connect to Supabase and deploy all this as well to different database storage and have, keep track of user authentications, keep track of the data written by each user, whatever you may be. Also, too, we make it really easy to work with GitHub as well. Chances are you may want to eventually bring this over to a platform like Cursor or Claude Code and continue working on it there. You may want to integrate it into your existing project or hand it off to a developer. We make that really easy as well. I'm going to kind of show you the GitHub integration as well. So here I'm going to make a new integration. I'm going to call this Bolt Fashion. And I'm going to make sure it's all here. I have my Bolt Fashion store now live, and I can start building as well. What's cool about this capability now is that we introduced the area of branches now. So right now I have our site, it's the blue and white version of our site. I can create a new branch and name this, Halloween deals. And now I'll have an area of the site that I can work on that's going to be separated from that original version of the site. So let's update the color scheme to orange and black. Change the countdown to Halloween 2025. Sometimes vibe coding doesn't always work the way you want and you run into issues. So Bolt makes it really easy to fix issues. So let's click fix. And Bolt resolved the issue automatically. So here I can click publish. And Bolt updated the site automatically for me. So I can go back to the original site, refresh it, and check it out as well. What's cool about all of this is that I can switch between different branches and work on different versions of the website. And I don't always have to publish as well. So I can go back to my main version of the site and quickly go inside here and make this, keep working on this, use Bolt's advanced editing tools here, or publish as well. And it's live again. And then all this is visible from your Netlify account, where you can take a look at all the different publishing touch points that it has for every time you click publish on the website as well. Another cool part about using Netlify is that we can set up like the security around all this too. And we're going to be going into this very deep tomorrow. But in terms of making this, I want to work on this and not necessarily have it published out to the web just yet. We can do that by default too. We have settings on team-wide settings to do this, and we can have it on the site-wide settings. So currently this website is, if I open up incognito, this site still works. But I can go inside my deploy settings, and I can change the way this is set up for access and security. So I can go to access and security, and then I can set different geography restrictions, IP restrictions to kind of make this setup as well. Or, I can set up just a simple password to set this up too. So I'm going to just set a basic password. And now when I go back to this site, I'm going to need a password too. So the sites that you're working on, you can set up team protection, password protection. You can set the whole team to be behind a team login until you're ready to kind of move it to production. So you have a lot of different options when you're wanting to deploy this out as well. So just to kind of drive this all home here, in 30 minutes or so, 18 minutes, we created a fully functional site, deployed it to Netlify, added in dynamic data, and without ever having to open a code editor or setting up a complicated CI/CD pipeline. So we did prompt to site creation. We did a one-click deploy to Netlify. We can make edits and work on different variations of the websites. We can set up password protection. And we offer Netlify. With Netlify, you can do one-click rollbacks as well, too. No repo, no configuration, no setup unless you want to. Thanks, everybody. Let's talk about any kind of questions you may have next.
Awesome. So great demo from Nil. If Nil's going to join us up on stage here. Awesome. Thanks for doing that. I wanted to start with one question that was asked recently from Tina. How do you manage web pages across a site with 100 plus pages, so lots of pages, while also using Bolt? Like, how would you recommend going about that?
Yeah, depending on where that data is coming from, you can kind of use Bolt to kind of scaffold that all out. So some customers are using CMS systems. So those CMS systems offer like a headless API. And a lot of times it can be like, hey, this is my API for Contentful. And this is like the space ID or, the content that I want, generate a site off of that too. And they'll usually be smart enough to kind of scaffold it all out. You can also just, inside of Bolt, you can drop in files too. So you could probably drop in like a folder of markdown files too, if you really wanted, and it would kind of know how to read that into the site as well.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So, I mean, it's similar workflows as before, but just, asking Bolt to kind of help you, integrate with those different APIs, headless CMS, things like that. I'll answer this question really quick. Will there be a replay here? Yes, we will be sharing out the recorded video after. So don't worry if you missed anything. Somebody mentions, let me look at, I'm looking at questions. I'm not entirely sure the full context on this question. So I don't know if we'll answer this here because we're mostly talking about like AI assisted workflows and things, but somebody was asking about if we use any infrastructure service at Netlify or any recommendations. That's a little bit off today's topic. Yeah, so one of the things in your video you talked about was actually, let me back up. I had a different question, and I wanted to ask you just in general, like, how have you found Bolt to be useful when you're working on sites? Like, what has it kind of like unlocked for you that maybe you didn't have available to you before?
Yeah, I think a lot of developers here know that starting a new project can sometimes take the longest part of the process. Getting that scaffolding right, getting your hello worlds deployed. Just kind of making sure everything's wired up usually takes a good amount of time. So my latest workflow have kind of been, I'll try to get as far as I can inside of Bolt. And then I kind of will export it out to GitHub and we'll actually bring it into my IDE code editor, whether I'm messing with Cursor or Windsurf or Claude Code, whatever's kind of, really popular that I'm kind of finding lately, and then work from there too. In tomorrow's session too, Sean McTurnan is actually going to be going through like some more advanced workflows of working with taking your AI code and working with it inside of your IDE environment and kind of working with a more secure deployment process in Netlify. So stay tuned for that tomorrow too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because I mean that's a big thing that a lot of people, we've seen it where like somebody accidentally leaks their API keys or different things like that. Like worrying about security with these new tools is a big important thing, especially if you're not as familiar. with some of the best practices and things like that. You know, what can we do at Netlify to help you out there? This is related, but a question more just about Netlify in general that we can go ahead and answer. Does Netlify auto scale the deployed instance if traffic increases significantly? One thing is Netlify, you know, we take care of auto scaling, so you don't really have to worry about like, you know, if your site went viral. You know, of course, there's always different things with your code, you know, different performance things that we can help you make faster, whether that be, you know, what your caching strategy is, or maybe using an image CDN that like Netlify has and other things. But yeah, we definitely are auto scaling for you.
One thing to kind of mention about that is you know, a lot of times you have to do some deep configuration for other frameworks to get this working on other platforms. With Netlify, that like hello world, that simple app that you deploy, like is automatically going to be provisioned to be, you know, horizontally and vertically scaled for you. So, you know, we have lots of controls, you know, if you really want to get into the CDN weeds, but like out the gate, like your app that you deploy is going to perform around the world just fine.
Yeah, totally. Can we use?
Question just came in.
Yeah, no, lots of questions. Okay, let me, if you see one you want to take, and I'll go for it.
Yeah, Bolt for backend development. Yeah, so Bolt supports a lot of different frameworks now. A lot of these AI site builders are kind of defaulting to Vite or Vite. I never know how to pronounce it. But yeah, it certainly can too. And you can ask for things like create a Netlify function to do, you know, read this data from my database or something like that. And Bolt will know how to create that file for you too. So, and once that is deployed to Netlify, like we kind of split it up and deploy it on our serverless platform. So they instantly become APIs that you can use in your app.
Totally. Somebody mentioned about monetization. Maybe we can talk just briefly about that the Bolt has a Stripe integration.
Yeah. Yeah. So Bolt has a few different partners, including Stripe. So you can literally connect to Stripe, and it'll kind of walk you through setting up your API keys, and it will actually be smart enough to, like, you know, wire you into the like a checkout flow with Stripe too. So it's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Very popular option for taking payments as well.
Totally. A few people have asked about Figma to Bolt. We didn't go over that. We cut that a little bit for time in this demo, but Bolt does have that like Figma to Bolt feature. I haven't personally gotten to play around with it, so I can't really speak a ton to it. But I do know like that is a thing that a lot of the agents are starting to support, is this idea of like giving it an image and you know, taking it and trying to create a site from it. I can't speak on Bolt specifically, but I've had good and bad results with that personally. But I know a lot of it's like an area that I think I see improving a lot, and like it's really on like the up and up. But yeah,
I think there's to add to that, yeah, I 100% agree. I think with some of those workflows, I think all the vendors are kind of in an arms race to kind of get the AI site gen to match your design system exactly too, and there's varying levels of all that too. There is a Figma import on Bolt, but you know, to use that, I would be very specific in the prompt and kind of, you know, define everything I can too. Some other people have I've seen results with, you might have you can also do a GitHub import into Bolt. So if you have like a sample empty repo with all the components laid out, that might actually do a decent generation of like using the pre-made components inside the repo too as an alternative.
Yeah, but it's actually something that we're exploring. So one of the areas, for context for others, one of the areas that I am a PM for is the Netlify website. And, you know, we're kind of exploring some of those because we've been building out some new components. And I've been really wanting to see how we could make it easy to create pages from those components that maybe we haven't put together as like a template or anything. And so it's definitely an area that we're exploring for sure. And I know a lot of other people would would benefit a lot from that. And like, do we need to give it some sets of rules and guidelines so that we kind of have like a consistent design system, while still allowing, more people on our team be empowered to, create new pages, things like that. Okay, we have a few. Let me look. I'm scrolling.
The internal and private IP addresses for that question, how would you give it access to internal or private APIs? Depending on how internal or private, some of these are just bearer tokens that you can layer into the request, and you can tell Bolt to make a serverless function to do that. If it's a truly private, API where it's behind the firewall that's only IP accessible, talk to us. We can kind of talk you through a couple different private connectivity options and partnerships that we kind of have here too. And if you were using Netlify Connect data is ultimately just a GraphQL endpoint with a token too that you can prompt against. Can you use Bolt to integrate with Storybook? Sure, like Storybook. Yeah,
Storybook.
All those are just
yeah.
Several. All those are just headless APIs that you can kind of incorporate.
Somebody actually called out the preview server. We haven't planned that as part of the demo, but that is a good call out. Let me see what else. I think we got most of the question. Let me see. I'm just scrolling to make sure I didn't miss anything. We talked about Figma, payments. Yeah. If anyone has any last questions before we wrap up, thanks y'all these have been great questions. Give everybody just like a few seconds. While I wait to see if any last questions come in, just a reminder, we'll have another demo tomorrow that was posted in chat. A little bit different, but along the lines of like using these new AI assisted, development workflows. Amy just posted again the link to it if you want to join. I would say on the Storybook question, I don't think I have a great answer for that right now, but I'll try to see what I can find. But yeah, we have not checked. We actually use Storybook at Netlify, but I don't know if we have tested out with Bolt. Somebody on our product design team might actually have. But I'll have to dig more into that.
Sorry. I was thinking Storyblock, not Storybook.
Yeah. Storybook. Yeah, it's very similar names. And yeah, Sean, who's doing the demo tomorrow, is also in chat, talking about what he's gonna kind of walk through. But yeah, it's either be there or be square. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anil, for the demo and joining and answering questions. And this has been great. And thanks everyone who joined today or is watching this after in the recording.
Thanks, everybody. Go out there and create some sites.
Yeah, and share them with us. Totally. Thanks.